You're going to get people.
That's the problem with it.
Yeah, I know.
That's indicative of why it's a problem. If you want to ask, people get super like tense about it, then maybe it's an issue.
Exactly.
Well, this is why you break that stereotype. This is why you give me hope, because people can't say the same thing to my friend Mr. IC3. He can get away with far more than me.
Right.
Well, because he's black.
Well, that's a problem, isn't it?
No, it's not a problem. It's a good thing that he can. Well, that he can say what he wants.
But that I can.
No, get me wrong.
More people will listen to him.
The stack is decked. The deck is stacked against me saying the same thing as my friend here, because the preconceptions and prejudices in there, and what they want to fast track me to the most insane conclusion so they can clobber me over the head. But if I sail close to this man and use exactly the same formulas, then it's like I'm in favour of Tahitian identity. I don't want there to be a million Romanians turn up in Tahiti and suddenly change the whole flipping thing. And Irish and English and all of those things. So I think
in a sound way, you would not worship anything of the creation. The only thing that your intellect will tell you that is worthy of worship is nothing except the creator of this universe, this cosmos. If you use this intellect and no prophet and messenger came and you said, there is a God, I submit and surrender, you already have believed in him, and this is your judgment is not going to put you in hellfire, because you have arrived at the right conclusion that there is a creator who is one and only and absolute.
So where it says about
so in Islam, a disbeliever is a kafir. Probably heard this word, oh, you're a kafir, you're a kafir. A kafir linguistically means someone who covers, a farmer is called a kafir. Why? Because they cover the soil with the earth. Knowing the soil is there, knowing the earth is covering. So there's a knowledge involved in this action. A kafir in Islam, in its technical meaning, someone who knows the truth and then rejects it. So the question that we were discussing, if someone doesn't know the truth, you cannot technically say this person is a kafir.
How can you know the truth? Sure, because what you just said, I feel like is a conflicting interest, because you said God will send a prophet to be a messenger or prophet to teach you how to live your life, but you also have your own intellect. You said that your intellect is influenced by God, and your intellect is influenced by your beliefs. So the same mind.
Excuse me, are you? She's focusing.
Yeah, no, I can talk to her. Can I talk to you? Yeah, she's got a mind of her own.
I thought she was listening, but actually, the reason I say that, there are some people here in the park, just to introduce you the park dynamics. I come here to tell about Islam and present Islam to people and reason with people to Islam. The lady here, can I finish? Can I finish? You see, she's not even allowing me to speak.
She's got a mind of it. You interrupt into my conversation.
I know,
I can talk to whoever
but I'm just explaining to the lady
she was just saying
who
that
she wants to speak to. You choose who you want to speak to. No one's going to.
She's been contributing as well.
What I'm saying simply, she's a Christian missionary, like we are Islamic, you could call it Muslims, who've come here to share the message of Islam. She's here to share.
Yeah, can I just stop making it about missionary?
Excuse me.
Mansour, carry on the conversation.
Let's not make it.
Exactly.
Go and ask and then go. Thank you.
No, I'm going to be here.
Let's not make
She's
it.
going to be here. So that's why I'm saying.
Carry on the.
No. That's what I'm saying. So it is not proper.
This is
that while you were listening,
it's great.
She is trying to interrupt this discussion and talk about Christianity. By all means, go ahead, right? But we'll talk about another time. I'm just showing you how. You know, come on, have your own discussion. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's just carry on.
So Owen.
So
what I'm saying is,
can I just finish because I was making a point?
Go ahead.
So I feel like what you were saying. I feel like what you were saying there is conflicting interest, because you said about we're talking about the God will send a messenger or a prophet, and then you also said that our intellect can be influenced by God. And
no. I said We have to use the intellect. The Quran reprimands us for not using the intellect. The Quran says there are people who worship the idols. And those people say, we've seen our forefathers worshipping the idols. And the Quran says, what if your forefathers were wrong? You're not going to use your sense. They could be wrong too. You can't just simply say, I was born in a family of people who worship a monkey and I'm worshiping a monkey. What happened to your intellect? So God constantly wants us to use the faculty of intellect to revive us in the right thinking. But intellect has its limitation.
You say that the intellect tells one thing and it's the same forever.
A sound intellect would not contradict God's revelation. Like the example we said about God being all knowledgeable.
How do you define a sound intellect?
Yeah. So the sound intellect, give an example of a sound intellect. God is all knowledgeable for all the time. Then he comes down and he's ignorant. The sound intellect will tell you all knowledgeable means all time, all knowledgeable, not 5 minutes ignorant. But if someone says, I'm using the mind, just because the book says so, I'm going to accept it. It's God became ignorant for 33 years or whatever. That's not the use of a sound intellect. Because you are now leaving the use of the intellect, suppressing it, and then subscribing to what a particular book may say, because you're giving priority to this book and saying, no, this takes priority, even though your mind does understand that there's a contradiction. Yeah? So sound intellect would not contradict God's true revelation. This is one of the principles that you should go by. Because otherwise, you can believe in anything. Like I half elephant, half monkey God and say, yeah.
Okay, so my intellect is, my understanding of what my intellect is just like my logic and you know what I mean? So I'm not a practicing, I don't practice any religion, I'm not a practicing Muslim or something like that. So there's that meaning I'm not, I don't know,
what it means is
my intellect tells me that not everything, to not believe everything in these religions. So your intellect disbelieve
if you use your intellect as you are using it, you would know all of these religious ideas and ideologies cannot be all true. Yeah? So already use the intellect. So that means which one is the truth you need to decipher and filter out. You can use your intellect to filter out, and this was the process that we were showing earlier on in terms of which makes sense or not. Okay? The intellect will then direct you in saying, it doesn't make sense. God is unknowledgeable, not unknowledgeable. God is like a pervert watching naked women having a bath, and so on. So there is this intellect role that you can clearly use, and then say, look, let me now look at this book. Book is something that God supposedly has sent and revealed through the prophets and messengers to guide us to. How does this book tell me about himself and about everything else, right? Does it tell me that I'm created, I'm already doomed? He's created me and I'm already doomed. I'm already guilty. Imagine, you open a bank account and then the next one they tell you, okay, you're in debt, my friend, £1 million. Just feed the debt into your account. You'd say, how is that? That is unjust. I've just opened a bank account, it should be blank. Yeah, empty, and then I can put my money in, take my money out. But if you're already guilty, like many religions, I don't want to have to name them. There are many religions who say you are already guilty of a crime that you did not commit. You weren't even there. Someone ate the apple, the fruits.
Do you have an example?
No, we're talking about Adam and Eve, first parents.
Oh yeah.
They were there in a garden, and they, because of their lapse and weakness, being also deceived in addition by Satan, they fall short of the requirements and they disobeyed an action of God, a command of God. They ate of this tree, and now a religious tradition, big religious tradition says, you are all guilty, every one of you. You are going to be punished to death unless someone else, like me, God, die for you. I see that, look, this is problematic to the very core of one after the other. Firstly, how can I be guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? I wasn't there. I did not have any involvement. You see, an action has to be done by a willing agent who is also capable. Can you make me guilty for not saving someone being run over by a bus? The only way I can save is having wings and flying over them. How can I be held accountable and guilty and punishable by death because I could not save someone in Brighton? I cannot simply go and fly because I don't have wings or transport myself. So not only that I have to have the will, but I have the capacity and the ability. Eating of the apple, I wasn't there. I didn't intend it to happen. I did not eat it myself. So how can I be guilty of that crime which I didn't commit? That is unjust. It's injustice to the very core. Second point, the only way then I can be saved for a crime that I did not commit, you know how? It's by the God who created me. He commits suicide. He says, I'm going to kill myself to save you. Even more unjust. God creates you in your weakness where you commit actions which is not up to the standard, and then God saves you by killing himself, punishing himself. Does it make sense to you? That's why I'm saying religious traditions must be used and looked at properly and then say, look, what is the concept of God? What is the concept of sin and salvation? What is the concept of heaven and hell? Is there justice there, or is it just like everyone goes to heaven? I'm not talking about your belief, or am I talking about your belief? I'm just talking about a religious tradition. Everyone goes to heaven, or everyone goes to hell.
So, you know, can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course you can.